Hello everyone, I am joined by Scott Wellenbach, a sort of fresh face on the scene, but there's a lot of buzz already about you. You had a lot of big hands yesterday with Akintuna, you're chipping up well, there's a little over 50 players left, but that's not what we want to start out with today. Word on the street is that you understand how to translate Sanskrit, that you're sort of a scholar of Buddhism as a whole.
More Tibetan than Sanskrit, actually.
Oh, Tibetan?
I do translate some Sanskrit, but my primary focus is Tibetan.
We spoke earlier this week with a psychologist who was talking a lot about just how the study of mindfulness and awareness and consciousness is such an important element, and maybe sometimes an overlooked element in the poker world. You know, people are on their phones and busy with other stuff. So I wanted to speak to you a little bit just about how, maybe some of your studies and some of the things that you've been working on the rest of your life might also be really helpful in your poker game.
Well, I like to think it is, but some days it's really hard to tell. Basically, when you practice meditation and develop the qualities of mindfulness and awareness, you become, one phrase that's used is you become friends with yourself. So you become more accustomed to all those thoughts and emotions that course through our mind and that often take control of us emotionally or psychologically. And as you become familiar with what's going on with you, and as you come to accept that, perhaps these thoughts and emotions have less power over you, less control, so that you can see more clearly what's going on in the table, also what's going on within you, and hopefully do the right thing. Although the right thing, I would say, should involve kindness as well as precision of thought, which is always a challenge at the poker table. How can you be kind and still try to win?
Still try to steal your chips from you, fair and square. Of course, I think there's so many layers in this game, and it's been enough days now, I think, that there's a lot of sitting, a lot of needing to be present and conscious for long hours, long periods of time. But I noticed you're standing up also and stretching. And what role does also sort of, I guess, being aware of your body play in making sure that you're conscious at the table?
Well, I'm 66, so you got to get up and stretch at times because you get stiff. I would say in general, being aware of the sensations that are going on in your body, whether you're playing poker or whatever you're doing, is important, because there's a lot of, that's one of the ways that we hold tension and stress. There's some muscles, some tightening here and there. And the more that you become, again, familiar with it and learn to accept it, and learn to be aware of what's going on with you physically, emotionally, psychologically, the more you'll see what's coming to you from the world and what's you're projecting from within. And that includes body very much.
This guy, amazing. Well, I wanted to ask you just one more thing. I know you qualified to come here, and it's a really cool experience, I think, to just be in a poker tournament and not free rolling, but more or less able to sort of
free rolling. It cost me 30 euros.
Yeah. But yesterday, I read a blog post about you where the blogger was essentially saying every time I walk by his table, he's engaged in some really interesting conversation. It's not just BS. It's not just trying to get information. That there's been some really great conversations developing. So just tell me a little bit about what this experience of coming and having this.
Well, one of the things I really enjoy about playing poker in tournaments or in my daily life, whatever, as opposed to on the internet, but live poker, is the conversations you have. You're just thrown together with ordinary men and women, mostly men, unfortunately, but some more and more women, and except not here. It's very strange. Very few women players in Barcelona, as opposed to, for instance, the PCA.
Right.
So you're thrown together with ordinary people that you would never, ever probably have the occasion to talk to. And I find that a really wonderful experience. And one thing that I find difficult, frankly, is all these, and if we made a gender stereotype here, guys who have their earphones on and are focused on their iPhone. And if you try to talk to them, you get a gruff, sort of snort. I find that an unfortunate sort of waste of what is potentially a good experience. And I almost wish they would ban earphones and if they could, phones. I realize you're not going to be able to ban phones in today's world, but it really...
They've done it. There's been a few tournaments where they did this.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was
just
actually
human
really well.
beings getting to talk to each other. And some of the most interesting conversations I've had in my life in the last, say, year have been around the poker table, just people thrown together, talking.
From all over.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing. In fact, in some ways, it's the most interesting thing about poker, I'd say, live poker anyway.
Well, I, for one, am really happy to get to talk to you just for a little bit, just a little taste, and we would love to see you keep going deep in this event and keep these conversations going, keep these headphones out, keep these boys active. We wish you luck, of course. Scott Wellenbach, I'm Sarah Herring. You guys are with us here on PokerNews.com.